Hey, Brent.
Yes, sir.
Can you just make sure that the powers that be stay away from my van?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so, appreciate it.
Hey, I figured what better time.
Oh, I didn't shake your hand?
Yeah.
No? How did I miss you?
Yeah, about these specific.
All right. Well, let's do this. Let's go get my stuff. I'll be back out. See y'all in a little bit. Hi there. I'm here to meet with the chief to pick up my stolen property.
Okay, and you can sign in?
Sure.
Okay, CJ, make sure you inspect each and every item for its condition.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be right with you, sir.
Thank you.
Do we all need to sign?
I don't, do we, no? So I think the only people to be you, me, Jim, and Larry, I think, are the only ones.
What's that, going on in?
Yeah, that'll be able to go in.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna look at everything.
Do what? He'll, I think he comes out right here.
Yeah, probably the case is locked also.
I think so.
Lock it, concealed carry without permit.
Or right there. Or what? I don't need to. He's got my license.
Reinstatement driver on.
Is it minor?
I picked up that.
I got the cell phone number to the head of DPS that runs it.
Oh, sorry about that. So we're at Olmos Park.
I got his phone number at home, but when I had processed, when I had issued you through the first time, I had to go all the way to the guy who runs the department. And
Got Larry Kielberg here of Self-Defense Fund. Hello.
and blah, blah, blah. But I got a cell phone number, so I just go, hey, you know, this is so from long ago, do me a favor. He's a good guy.
I might just go. Hey, Rick, hold on that for a second. I'm gonna go to the restroom. I don't want to take that with me because I'm live. This is one.
Not that kind of video.
I don't think anyone wants to see me do that.
Oh, you don't run for politics anymore, huh? That's maybe the reason that.
The younger generation calls that TMI, too much information.
Too much information.
Writing up a story on that?
Just writing kind of like an extended timeline. Yeah, this is the, what is it, UV?
Close the first chapter and started the second.
She's been following
No, my real fun one is like I said, I had to go a couple weeks later. Talk to my surgeon. So,
On top of it.
he's in the restroom. In the restroom? He'll be back in a second.
Interesting. The two individuals wearing blue lines in the chest.
Steve.
You don't want to stand out here in the way. Come around, you know why? Because it's being recorded.
Oh, they just came out with your stuff.
Yeah.
With my stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Got my rebel shirt on. It should say quash this.
The ones that are bomb cops, the ones that are wearing those blue lines.
Actually, I guess if you just want to hold that.
I saw baseball team.
So I hope you didn't wash your hands, but you're probably not going to shake his hand anyway, are you?
Yeah, they weren't. They were the only ones that did it.
Did he go back in?
Yeah. I said you're in the bathroom. Okay, one thing, silent.
Murphy's Law works weird
I guess
things.
we're doing one at a time.
Okay.
And here we have Larry Kielberg, the head of the Self-Defense Fund, who has paid for the attorney's fees for CJ and Jim in their successful defense of the criminal charges.
You get your property, sir?
Get some room.
Could you identify yourselves, please?
I'm busy right now, hold on.
They're too good for that.
How about the little, how about the?
Oh, you've got the.
Yes, sir, yes, I'll give it to you. One open, one little cigarettes.
Jim, have some cigarettes? I don't smoke.
Holster.
Want some stale smokes?
Case for your phone. One cell phone.
Yeah, there's a lot of people right now. Got over 500 people watching right now.
Can't tell.
I was mentioning to them.
6 rounds.
The only ones that have seem to be an issue is the ones that have those food line patches on there.
Door.
There were 2 other officers over here. but
Oh,
over
yeah.
here, they didn't have that. Just kind of telling you a little. I don't know. Maybe you have to arrest this individual.
Wow, that. And the Sanders. Send around there. One little tool. You have your dated and time it, and then sign it, and your best phone number right there.
Use my license then?
That's in Virginia.
Y'all sent that back?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, probably. Here it is.
And then sign it down here. Put the time.
Mr. Rose, Mr. Reed, please identify
Is
yourself.
there a record in there? Ever? That's you?
We'll give you a copy.
This one too?
Yes, sir.
That's a nice ringtone.
It's from the Hunger Games.
Oh, there it is.
I looked at him.
Oh, 100 days, yours.
Good movie.
Yeah, it is.
Everard, you here, keep your
We'll
property?
get his property.
I'll do that. I got a case for transport legally, so.
They ignored me.
Yeah.
I asked them to identify themselves. and they just-
Well, that was Hector Ruiz. He's one of the problems here in Olmos Park.
Isn't he the one that was like pointing his gun at the?
Yes, he is.
He is.
Finger on the
Trying to
trigger,
figure out a way to DR swing on.
At least he didn't have.
just like this, left-handed.
Yep.
Now I
Don't feel naked anymore, do you, CJ?
Nope. Thankfully,
He needs his space, you guys.
I brought my dad. Let me get out of the way before I upset him.
You wanna put your pistol in here, or you gonna wear
He
it?
might tase me again. No, I'm gonna wear it. I brought my letter from the state of
Okay.
Virginia saying that I'm good, so.
Did they say they sent your Virginia license back to the state?
Yep. They did.
Everybody step forward.
Oh, I'm sorry. Get out of the way here. No, yeah, that's my thing.
Oh, your pen?
That's okay, you can use it.
All right.
Let's go ahead and start with. One song in here. Go. I got the little thing that you put in there, the height for this. I got it.
Okay.
One SanDisk. Memory card.
Yeah, this is in there. That's a separate one.
Okay.
That was my wall.
So there's this one up there.
Okay.
Two red buttons.
Thank you.
Serial number that I needed to. Boyer or Charles, Paul 427?
It was Bravo Echo Charlie Papa 427?
Yes, sir.
All right, no one be afraid, I'm just closing my slide. Thanks.
15 light rounds. Another 15 light rounds. Yeah, red or rifle. Serial number. Can you see it?
Roger.
Paul Boy 027787.
Roger that.
One black magazine.
Roger.
Reed and Ruiz, Ruiz.
One black vest with the outer carrier.
Roger.
One black case for your cell phone. One Samsung Galaxy cell phone.
Yeah, both of them. Oh, and, yeah, the other one, the baby one. Yeah, that's something.
One black holster, and then the cat knife,
Thank you.
and the
This is not.
yours.
Nope, mine was a carbon fiber knife.
Maybe they switched over. Yours and Mr. Grisham's.
CJ, you got that carbon fiber? Where do you go?
And then a battery for your
Camera? Okay.
Is that your knife, or did you have a different knife? We have a different knife in all of that, so.
Oh, this one's not mine.
You got a carbon fiber one?
What's it? Yeah, I had a Gerber.
So then that was.
Yeah, that one's not.
Okay, too easy.
Yeah, this one's
Yeah, that's fine. Appreciate it.
Alright, let me have you date it, hang it, and then sign it right there. And you can show them.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Sign right here, and then your best phone.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all right, you can look it up when you call over and go over. Just tell me your first, so you're my first initial. Very good, sir.
Let me give you a copy and we're good to go.
Appreciate it.
There you go, sir.
Thank you very much.
Have a safe day.
You do the same, man.
Officers, anyone with Olmos Park talking to the media today? Officers, anyone with the city?
Oh, it's fine, it's James. Last name is E-V-E-R-A-R-D. Marty, yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Still going.
All right. Let me show everybody some. Look at that. Oh yeah.
Back where it belongs.
Back where it belongs. I can walk straight again.
Look like he's leaning to the right when he's walking over here.
Well, now
So we'll wait till Jim comes out. What's
I'm
that?
going to go back to my car and put something in there.
All right. Why'd you take it out?
I was expecting the full metal detector.
Oh,
to tell me.
gotcha.
So I left the holster there to make a statement.
The press asked them for statements and they refused.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Why am I not
And
surprised?
they refused to identify themselves as well.
Bunch of
And
cowards.
the press asked them for their name, and they refused to give their name as well. Like we expected any more from them.
Yeah. Well, no, I want you to stand next to me. Would you mind holding the live stream?
No worries. No.
You turned it around.
I just, yeah. That's what I was thinking. He handed it to me.
All right, here we go.
Let me get around over here.
Oh, he's still inside.
I'm taller. Let me get right over here.
Get them wired.
You're good.
Okay.
Wire them up.
I've got a length of rope slinging at me.
There's a. Oh no.
Yeah.
Putting the sling on that rope.
Thought you were keeping that rope for the tyrant.
Yeah.
They don't want any more, but they need to be more civil. Deal with actual criminals, you know. People hurt people.
And some rope. Y'all need a sound check or anything? 10, 9, 8, 7. Good. Y'all hear me over there?
Yep.
Do I need to talk louder? There you go.
There you go.
It'll be good for y'all, but not for them. Yeah. I'm sure he can see me. Where's the camera? Right over there. Yeah. I'm sure he can see me.
Where's the
Over there
camera?
too.
Oh, up over there, okay.
They returned your bullets as well. They're asking in the live stream.
Yep, got my bullets back. My magazine's been loaded. And I have one back in the chamber where it should be. Yeah.
Why not?
They sent my license to Virginia.
Send it to Virginia? How ludicrous.
Well, that's where it's from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just to make things difficult.
Yeah. Bureaucracies are good at that.
Well, Jim, I don't think Jim had as much stuff as I did, but
I noticed they got the knives and the long
they got the knives mixed
and
up,
the cigarettes.
and they gave me his cigarettes. No,
Yeah, they did.
they must have smoked them.
It shows sloppy evidence here.
No, they did
But they were
not
on my
apologize
property,
at all.
and that's when they got pissy, because when I went to sign my receipt and they were transferring me over the counter, there were two things on my receipt that weren't mine. And so when they come out, they don't tell you anything about what this is. I had to pretty much read it myself. All they do is they bring us out and they literally said it just like this: you can sign or don't sign, we don't care. And they're leading me out in leg shackles and handcuffs. They got 5 people surrounding me with tasers, with the lasers on, in their hand. Yeah, they cut it instead of unhooking it. Jim will talk about that. There he is. And so I told him, that's why on this one, where is it?
Oh, no.
On one of these, I didn't refuse to sign, but when he brought up when I saw that there were cigarettes on there, I told him, I said, those aren't mine. Do you want me to just cross it out, or do you want to redo it? And they didn't answer me, they just stared at me. And I said, but I can't sign this because this isn't mine. Do you want me to cross this out? And instead, they just let me back to myself. They didn't bother fixing it or anything, and of course, they're still on there. So, all right, Jim, you good? Yep. Ready? All right, you all ready?
I my sling out because I cut my other one off. So
All right. All right, so thanks for everybody coming out today. We wanted to hold this press conference because, and first of all, before we get started, for the benefit of Olmos Park, Virginia reinstated my license so I can legally carry. I have my paper copy. I was expecting to get my my plastic copy that they took from me, but apparently they sent that back to Virginia. So just so that no one tries to arrest me for unlawful carry, Olmos Park, I have my reinstatement letter from the state of Virginia right here. So I am legally carrying. I don't break the law. We tried to solve this. The problem here in Olmos Park went back to February. From February until March, the end of March, Olmos Park set off a series of false arrests against activists for open carry as well as for filming. It wasn't until the open carry issue came up that we got involved as Open Carry Texas. I sent on March 16th, I sent the city council a letter, an email to every member of the city council, the chief of police, the city manager, the city attorney. And I explained to them that what they were doing violated the law, violated the Constitution, and violated our civil rights. I got nothing for 2 weeks. I got ignored. So on the 26th, I called the police chief because nobody bothered to so much as give me a call. Even though I left my phone number, nobody bothered to return my emails, even though I left an email. I tried to solve this without having anything like this happen. I tried to solve it in the background. I didn't go to the media and say, oh, look, this is what we're doing. I tried to solve it through the proper channels. The city of Olmos Park ignored me and ignored the state of Texas and the members that we represent, both here and outward. So I called the police chief and I had a conversation with him, and that phone call is on my YouTube channel. The phone call that I had with the chief, where he specifically said that it was, quote, unreasonable to expect to be tased. I specifically asked that question. It was unreasonable to expect to have guns pointed at me for open carry. He said that was unreasonable. It was not his policy, he said, for law enforcement to draw weapons on law-abiding citizens who are open carrying. That is what he told me. The very next day, I did exactly what I asked him about. And he did exactly what he said was, one, not his policy, and two, was unreasonable. So what happened was, Jim and we decided to come over here to test whether or not the city had gotten the message after the emails and after the phone calls that what we are doing now is no different than what we were doing then and is perfectly legal. So, and then what happened was just atrocious. Not only were we threatened with lethal force, not only did law enforcement officers point firearms and endanger the lives of two law-abiding citizens, they knew we were coming. I told them we were coming. And yet, they ended up not only just arresting us, but violently arresting us. The charges from the beginning were bogus. We knew that, everyone else knew that. And so I'm very happy that the charges last week were finally dismissed, because they shouldn't have been filed in the first place. The charges shouldn't have been filed. I shouldn't have been tased. I shouldn't have been given a concussion. Jim shouldn't have had his wrist broken. Jim shouldn't have been arrested. And all the people that have been arrested for lawful activity here in Olmos Park have not been arrested. Having our charges dismissed is not an apology. We still have yet to get that. We still have yet to get an apology or any acknowledgement that the city of Olmos Park has done anything wrong. However, you can tell that they know they've done something wrong because they've hired a PR firm and they've hired an outside attorney firm to represent them because they know what's coming. So, well, first of all, that's sort of the background. I'll let Jim give a little bit more background from his perspective, or make a statement, and then we'll tell you what we're going to be doing going forward. If you have anything to say.
DJ's pretty much the talker here. Like you said, we came up here. Honestly, never expected anything like this to happen. I thought maybe at most they give us a stern talking to, maybe detainment. I never thought we were going to be held at gunpoint or arrested on such fictitious charges. Obviously what happened was well beyond the scope of anything appropriate. I had my wrist broken in 2 places and a wrist ligament. I'm looking at having surgery, unfortunately, to fix my wrist. I was also thrown to the ground face first while handcuffed, where I suffered concussion. You know, these are things that shouldn't happen to citizens simply for exercising their rights. And I don't carry a rifle on a daily basis. This is something I only do for when we do open carry Texas events. You know, and a lot of people may think, well, why does he need to carry a rifle? It's like, well, it's my legal right to do so. You know, I wasn't pointing it at people. I wasn't being threatening. I was sitting on a corner smoking a cigarette when 4 officers came up, drew weapons, accused me of being a terrorist, you know, said they were going to kill me. I mean, these aren't things that are supposed to happen in the United States, all alone in Texas. So I'm happy that the charges were dropped and happy I got my property back, but this is something that we need to work on. We got to make sure that officers like this, you know, don't stay on the streets. And we need to make sure that things like this that happen are made aware to the community so it never happens again.
Thank you. Also, this couldn't have been possible without Self-Defense Fund. We have with us Larry Kalberg here from Self-Defense Fund. Thank you. And I want to give him an opportunity to make a statement if he wants to as well.
Well, we're going to support CJ and our member, all of our members. We're not going to tell you what we're going to do next. You will know about it when we do it. So I'm not going to give Olmos Park ammunition to use against us, but the ball is in their court. They have been presented some demands by CJ for restitution of a broken wrist, concussion. So we don't know at this particular time if we will sue the city or the police department. Maybe, maybe not. It all depends upon them.
And so with that, the way forward again is we've submitted a list of demands to the city. That's not going to be made public yet. What we're doing actually straight from here is we are going to meet with our civil attorneys to find out what is the best remedy. Jim and I don't do this to get rich. I don't want to get rich. I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for justice. Okay, justice is much more important than money, and my rights mean much more to me than anything this city can ever give me. So what we want is justice. Now that might cost money for the city, and it might not, but that's why we're going to be discussing this with our attorneys today. And as Larry said, there's nothing specific that we're going to go on. But what I do want to promise the city of Olmos Park is that 1, this is not over. 2, they are not going to get away with what they did to me and Jim and the other activists here in Olmos Park. And 3, if I have my way, it will never happen again because the individuals responsible will no longer be working for the Olmos Park Police Department.
Amen.
So those are the 3 things that I can promise you. We're not just going away because my charges were dropped. This is far from gone. And if it takes a civil remedy through the courts to achieve the kind of justice that we're demanding, then that's what we will do. But the ball is in the city's court right now. It's on their side. And it is up to them to do the right thing. And I know it's a hard right thing because it means they have to swallow their pride. It means that the chief of police has to swallow his ego, and the city manager who is supporting the chief of police has to swallow her ego. I have tried to call the city since the charges have been dropped, and I've been hung up on 3 times by the city. They do not recognize the severity of what they've done here in Olmos Park and what they've done in the state of Texas. Okay? I will not rest if this is what it takes, that Olmos Park becomes a neighborhood in San Antonio. And the city ceases to exist as a city because they lose their charter. All right? Whatever it's going to take to get justice, I'm going to do it. I'm a fighter and I'm not going to give up. I can't. It's not just about me. It's not just about Jim. It's about every person that comes into this city. What are we fighting for? What are they safe in this city if they exercise their rights? So, with that, if there's any questions, we have to head to Houston next. So I'll take some questions first and then move on.
Mr. Grisham, some people might just be coming into the story for the first time and may not know the charges that were brought against you. Could you tell us what those were, the charges against you and Mr. Eberhard?
Yeah, so the false charges that were levied against me were interference with the duties of a peace officer, obstruction of a roadway, and felony assault on a peace officer or a public servant. And resisting arrest. And then Jim got resisting arrest, interference with the duties of a peace officer, and obstruction of a roadway.
So what happened last Thursday? Describe that process with the county, Bear County.
With getting notice.
Or just getting dismissed. How did that process work?
So about 2 weeks ago, the felony charge was dismissed, or a week and a half ago or so. The felony charge for me was dismissed, and then last week, all the misdemeanor charges for Jim and I were both dismissed. So that was obviously a weight off of my shoulders. It's a testament to the kinds of attorneys that the Self-Defense Fund employs to ensure that we get justice. They were aggressive. They didn't just wait around for a court date. They didn't play the little game. They aggressively went after getting these charges dismissed because they were bogus from the get-go. So that happened last week, and we immediately sought about getting our property back.
I know that you guys don't want to get into specifics, but what does justice look like for you at the end of the situation?
At a bare minimum, what justice looks like to me is that Chief Valenciano is fired, and that he loses his ability to ever wear a badge again. That Sergeant Ruiz or Detective Ruiz, I don't even know who he is, he never identifies himself to anybody, that he also loses his badge and his right to ever wear a badge again. And then Vieira, Adrian Vieira as well, same thing, that he be fired and never lose his badge again. This idea of just following orders doesn't fly in America. They knew what they were doing was wrong. I quoted them on the street and explained to them that what we were doing was not against the law. I implored them to stand down, and instead, all three of these individuals, plus a few others, instead escalated the situation to the point of violence.
Mr. Grisham, what's in Houston? Is this the beginning of the next step?
This is the beginning of the next step. This is where I'm going to meet with my criminal attorney, who was representing me through the criminal process. So we're going to be going through all the evidence that we collected for that defense, and then transitioning that to a potential civil attorney.
Does Jim also get lawyered up? Or
Yes. Yes.
We're both protected by self-defense.
I know there were signatures gathered. Whatever happened with all those signatures that were delivered to Olmos City?
Like everything else that Olmos Park does, they probably threw it in the trash. We never heard anything back from them. The city has, despite my repeated emails, I have probably sent a half a dozen emails to the city. They have completely ignored me and just about everyone else. I think that is, they still haven't fulfilled my open records request that I made a month ago. So they're also violating the law in that sense, that they refuse to release documents. Instead, they keep delay tactics. Oh, can you explain this? Can you expand on that? Can you further identify exactly what you're looking for here? There's a problem with accountability in Olmos Park, and we're going to bring accountability to Olmos Park.
Last question, do we get to see another huge demonstration like the one that was held here about
I hope not. What I would like to see people do, because I know some other activists that are both within and without Open Carry Texas have come and done some rallies, and they've been left alone. I think as far as open carry goes, we've probably fixed that. I hope more people come and exercise their rights just to ensure that Olmos Park has finally gotten that message, and they've learned that lesson. That's all we want, is just, we have to obey the law. We want them to obey the law. So will there be a massive protest? I think that depends on how the city reacts to going forward. Everything that we do for a purpose. And right now I don't see a purpose in having a big Olmos Park rally. We already achieved the purpose of the last one. Anything else? How about the alternative media, the new media? Anything from y'all? No more questions? Real media. I would also, and I'm sure Jim would as well, make one last statement, and that is, we would not be here. This isn't just a legal issue. If it weren't for my family standing by my side, this would be nearly impossible to do what I do. Our families risk a lot. They risk time with us. They risk worry. not knowing what happens. They refused to tell my wife where I was for 7 hours. All she knew was that I was injured. She didn't even know what hospital I was in. They wouldn't even tell her that. So our families go through a lot, and they risk just as much as we do in this effort. And I wouldn't be here without my wife's support and my family's support. But when the police do what they did, this isn't just a matter of throwing someone in jail, having charges dismissed. This disrupts an entire life. Because I worry, I mean, heck, I had to show my license here because I worry that I'm going to be targeted by law enforcement in the city if I don't stop correctly at a stoplight, if I don't use my blinker, if I veer over too far. There's a fear that now I have in my life of being retaliated against, and that might be justified, it might not be justified. But there's a financial cost that goes along with this as well. I don't get my bail money back. We got thrown in jail with false charges, and we had to pay money to be free. And well, that's what I'm saying is money gets paid, and they don't get that money back. They can just throw people in jail for no reason, and they don't get that money back. There's a worry while you're in jail, what's going to happen to me? I have a felony charge now, a felony arrest on my record that I might have to pay an attorney to get expunged. That's going to affect my job prospects. Jim now has a record of arrest because even though these charges are thrown out, any search is going to show that he's been arrested. This is going to follow us for the rest of our lives, and it follows our families for the rest of our lives. And if the police don't think that these guys, they throw you in jail, they throw you in a cage, they throw false charges against you, and then they go back to their jobs like as if nothing happened. There's no accountability for them, and they don't feel it. It's not personal for them. But for us, we had to spend 21 hours in a cage. We had to be told where to go. All right, everybody step out. All right, take 2 steps forward. Turn to your right. Move forward. Don't move too fast and don't move too slow. If you say anything, you'll be thrown in. I mean, this is how we got treated. You get treated like absolute dirt. And there's a lot of emotional and mental stuff that goes into having these kinds of things happen as well. And so I hope people understand that. This isn't just a matter of people getting thrown in jail. This is their entire lives being upended and affected for the rest of your life. I have to wonder every time a police officer approaches me, great, am I about to be tased again for no reason? If I walk down the road with my handgun, just like I am right now, am I going to be tased for no reason? Am I going to be forced on my face? So I want especially the live viewers to know, because I know this probably won't make the main media, but I want y'all to know that this is a bigger issue than a lot of people think it is when it comes to being falsely arrested. So, all right,
Our attorney was on it immediately. As soon as we got the call, we contacted our attorney. They stonewalled the attorney. They could not, even the attorney could not find, they would not cooperate. Our bail bondsman was in immediate contact with them. We were ready to post bond, but they stonewalled the bondsman. They couldn't find them either. So it took us like 6 hours to even find where CJ, everywhere's stonewalled. You'd call Bayer County, that's stonewalled. You'd call Olmos Park Police, that's stonewalled. They would give you no records whatsoever. They wouldn't say anything.
Last question, CJ, would you do this all over again?
I will. There is no risk in my mind too great than freedom. I fought for my country for these rights overseas, whether people agree with that or not, the reasons behind that. I fought for my country overseas, only to come home and have to fight against my country for the same rights. That's wrong. When I do it again, I will fight to my death, just like our founders did. I will risk my very soul, my very life, to defend freedom and ensure that the United States of America remains a place where we can exercise these rights free from harassment and free from these kinds of actions.
Remember Athens, Tennessee.
There you go. And this is what you saw on the cameras. Once this whole story comes out and all the behind the scenes stuff that Olmos Park Police did, it's worse than everybody knows right now. Just I'll leave that little cliffhanger with you. There were actions behind the scenes that should offend every American. So I know everyone's gonna be like, oh, CJ, come on, you're gonna send me messages going, wait, what are you talking about? Come on, you can tell me, I'm your buddy. But it's all gonna come out, I promise you. But we don't want to release everything because we want Olmos Park to do the right thing. All right, and hopefully they realize that they'll go and look and they know what I'm talking about. So, all right, it's 10 o'clock and that's the latest I wanted to be here.
He does enough talking for me, so.
I like your patch, by the way. Did y'all see his patch on his wrist?
Oh, yeah, the
Chief Valenciano was here.
Yeah, I'm cynical, I know.
All right. Okay. Well, gentlemen, ladies, well, ma'am, my wife. Ladies, right? Okay. Yeah. So, gentlemen, thank y'all. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. I'm gonna meet Larry here real quick. Oh yeah.
Another good thing you think your wife goes out around the bullhorn now.
Thank you. Put this stuff up. I'm trying to flag anyone. Oh no, I'm just putting stuff in the car. I'm coming right back.
CJ, it's still running for you, sir?
Okay. Thanks, guys. There you go. We are on our way to Houston now, and thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. Stay safe. Stay free.